So today I am going to podcast about Uranus, and we basically had a Uranus-Venus opposition. Venus was 15 degrees in Scorpio, and Uranus right now is 14 degrees Taurus. So in the second house, we're talking the second house for Uranus, the eighth house for Venus. And I want to tell you a little story about this area. This is Pololu, and I want to talk about Uranus and why we might want to start thinking about what might be happening to us as our energy is becoming revolutionized. What does that mean exactly? Does that mean that we all take to the streets and go to civil war? Or does it mean our consciousness itself is being upgraded? Well, there's some beautiful reasons to look at this time, as I do believe that Uranus in large order is a part of a consciousness upgrade for those of us, home and family, what it takes to be a member of a family. But at any rate, we're going to go and we're just going to look at this little body of water out here, and over off to this front end is a little island. And why I want to bring your awareness to this little island, my husband and I had given thought to kayaking, and we got to discussing ways to kayak out to this body of water, which from the land doesn't look like it's terribly far away. It doesn't look imposing. It doesn't have a look to it that would be in any way dangerous. And as we were discussing it, we were thinking, okay, since I'm kind of not in the best of health, maybe we don't want to have a very heavy kayak. So we decided maybe we want to have a kayak that we can fill with air. It would be very lightweight. That was a great idea until we got to talking to other people, and particularly about this spot out there that you see. Venus opposition Uranus is this story, a romantic idea to go out and wallow around in the sea around a rocky outcropping. What could possibly go wrong? Well, in 2017, a story pops up that people went out there kayaking and found themselves in trouble. And so you wonder, okay, what could have possibly gone wrong? Well, an air-filled kayak, to be precise. And on top of it, that water is filled with sharks. These folks ended up in a popped kayak in shark-infested waters, needing to be rescued by the Coast Guard. A very romantic idea that led to sudden and unexpected surprises. Oh my goodness, water and air do not mix. So, at any rate, my husband and I then realized, well, weight might not be a factor we need to consider. And then we revitalized our thoughts again and decided that perhaps we are just not going to get a kayak. We'll go on a kayak tour if we're going to do it at all. Because, well, this is Mother Ocean, right? And powerful, very powerful. But we have thus chosen not to do that. Well, and another reason that I want to bring you to Pololu Valley is to talk about our level of consciousness being raised. This is an area that basically you look around and it's loaded with valleys, and yet this is very sacred land, okay? And the sacredness of this land is everywhere. One of the reasons that I believe that I belong here is the connection to spirit, the connection to the sacred, to honor that connection, and to become a part of a process of healing at a higher consciousness. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about Sun conjunct Uranus, which is something that's active in me right now as I'm going through a lot of changes myself, a lot of transformation, okay? For me, the Sun conjunct Uranus, my awareness to a spiritual practice or a spiritual process is much higher. I can see a shark out there, folks. There's no way my camera is good enough to pick it up, but I keep seeing a shark fin, a sudden and unexpected surprise. Thank you, Spirit, for that was not expected, but we are being called to awaken spiritually, to do something about ourselves in our consciousness. Uranus, as it's a revolution. Many of us feel torn. Do we join in and scream and holler and do stop the steal, or do we stand back and ask ourselves, is this even real? Is this really the way we want this country to be? Is it so important to be homogenous that we'll only look at one possibility? Or is that one possibility from the 1940s and the 1950s no longer relevant to who we are today? And therefore, perhaps in the chaos of what is happening, there's a gift. The gift being Uranus, an upgrade in our consciousness. I would say so. And as I'm standing here in Pololu Valley, as I said before, the young people have kind of championed saving the valley. And along the valley, it's not uncommon for the billionaires to want to come in and purchase property and build resorts. And these resorts, although beautiful, and for those of you who are fortunate enough to be able to afford to come and stay in them, probably find them absolutely fabulous. The people who live here end up being priced right out of their home. So that being said, it is a system that has very much got a dark side. That Uranus needs a consciousness upgrade, needs revolutionized, and is becoming a conscious awareness of people. The young people say this is sacred land you cannot build upon. This is happening largely up and down the coast on the Big Island. And I believe, let's see, we are on the northern tip of the island, and basically up and down there's places that are sacred called hayals. I'm sorry if I get this not pronounced correctly. I promise to work on pronunciation, but these areas are sacred, and over, much like the Aborigines walk the land and do their chants and offer awareness to their ancestors. There's a similar energy and spirituality practiced here. And a lot of times people come in and they think, well, I can just build, or I can just do that, and I can do. And in fact, there are rules here that are not spoken, but are nonetheless important. And those who've come in and attempted over time to take over, and in their wealth, perhaps producing a movie or building a building meant to gather their riches, whatever. A lot of times they meet with a very odd end. Okay, there's plenty of stories where the lack of respect has just plain led them to take their demise. So, do take spirituality here very seriously, because it is a very serious matter. Now, the young people, they are looking to preserve this sacred land. They are wanting to maintain it and not allow it to be taken over any further from for the wealth, and the wealthy. So, in Hawaii, I can tell you that we are starting to look at things differently. We are starting to see a revolution of energy. And one of the interesting things that I share with Hawaii is a Saturn in the second house, where financial limitations to the local people, very, very unreasonable, really. Self-esteem and disregard to the local people, and I myself don't want to stand on their ancestral land and forget who I am, and that I'm only a guest passing through, and that I need to have respect for how I got here. Okay, we are revolutionizing Uranus, the planet of sudden and unexpected breakthroughs. And I'm bringing you this story to expand your awareness of what Uranus is about. It's a slow-moving planet. It's an outer planet. It takes 7 years to go through one house. So it takes some number of years to get through the entire zodiacal structure for the 12 houses, okay? But it nonetheless plays a very important part in how we develop. Uranus in the second house, how we give and receive objects, okay? How we are in our house and home. It's our Taurian stage, where, you know, we go from being that age of 3 to 5, where our security matters. We're very much being asked to look at what is security as we are upgraded, a revolution of energy. And with that, I want to thank you for joining me here on a brief discussion of Uranus. And please do go to www.twiggie.com and look myself up and my lovely co-reader, Pearl Rowland, and we would love to provide you a reading. And I thank you for joining me here today.